I've seen this movie before. Not the AI part, the 1999 pattern. Dot-com money flowing and dreaming like it would never stop. Then it did. And right now I'm watching three signals that tell me the AI bubble isn't coming. It's already here, already cracking. I remember the dot-com crash took from 1997 to about 2000, and this one, which is based primarily on generative AI, started with ChatGPT in late 2022, early 2023. I was there in dot-com. I watched people mistake hype for value. Let me show you what I'm seeing. Let's start with the money. Now, during the dot-com time, I had a big company. We got a call from a CEO for an advertising campaign. And he says, here's the deal. I want to do $1 million advertising campaign. I'm like, great. He says, you send me the invoice for $1 million. I'll send you the $1 million. Then send me back the 900,000 and you keep 100,000. It's on the books, would make the company flush, his company, and make his investors happy for whatever reason. I said no. I don't like these kind of games. They don't tend to end well. Some people said yes. Things got messy, legally. Now watch OpenAI, NVIDIA, and AMD, and the stock partnerships I'm about to tell you about. Because they remind me a lot of that odd CEO calling me and saying, hey, money for nothing. So OpenAI locks in massive NVIDIA chip orders. They're going to order them anyway. NVIDIA, future chip orders, locked in revenues, stock confidence play. We're talking 100 billion future commitments. That's not a buy. That's a forward bet. AMD gets a little different play. So where one says, hey, I'll give you 100 billion, you buy my chips. AMD, which also makes chips, gets a commitment from OpenAI, who doesn't have the money to back the commitment. See, OpenAI needs chips, lots of them, but it doesn't have the cash flow to buy them outright, or at least hopefully will by then. So OpenAI gets stock warrants for a future purchase from AMD at incredibly low prices. Basically, when the AMD stock goes up, OpenAI hopefully can cash in on them, buy the chips from AMD, and sell the shares at a profit, and use that cash to actually buy the chips. So AMD's stock price becomes OpenAI's funding mechanism in a way. It's not an investment in AMD's product. It's a bet that AMD's stock rises because the AI hype story keeps going on, and OpenAI's survival depends on that stock staying inflated long enough to convert warrants into cash, into chips. That's not a partnership. That's financial dependency dressed as a deal. It's almost like that dot-com CEO calling me up and I don't have to do anything that I'm not already doing, and make a little extra money on the side when that stock price goes up. And when the hype cools, when AMD's stock stops rising, OpenAI can't convert those stock warrants and they can't buy the chips, and the whole thing seizes up. Is this an investment in AI's capability, or an investment in making the stock price move? Pretty obvious, right? That's the signal. In dot-com, we called it financial engineering. Today, it's like strategic partnerships, acqui-hires, people buying companies, this strange shuffling of the appearance of money, but no money actually going around. And when that happens, and it's happening big time, that's a signal that things are starting to crack. Which brings me to the AI content problem. The dead internet. Bots and AI creating content. And AI is being trained on the very content it created. And it surprised everyone's like, this is AI slop. People are mad about AI slop everywhere. Low quality content, garbage, noise. Mostly from people who are in competition with the slop. AI didn't break the internet. It just revealed something that was already broken for many, many years. See, we trained ourselves first. It began when Google taught us to please their algorithm. Everything around search engines was designed to please Google. There was companies like Demand Media, Mahalo back in the day, who made entire businesses out of just serving that, but Google had to stop them because they would have basically become all the content on Google. Make sense? Not really. So SEO taught us to please the algorithms. Social media's taught us that optimization is about engagement. So you watch the algorithm updates. Look at these experts on LinkedIn, on Meta, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, following the algorithm, which tells you the type of content to create, and then you serve it. So we didn't stumble into this optimization. We built the internet where garbage pays. It's been paying for years. AI didn't invent this, it industrialized it. And these AI companies, like ChatGPT, even the most successful, are not nearly profitable and are going to need a lot more than the current content creators using them and paying for them. It's just not enough. AI slop may not be the problem. It's the fact that we love to create more slop that algorithms tell us work based mostly on rage and anger, and that spreads the word. So we're feeding a machine that AI has already defined, but there's all this competitive, I'm better than AI slop people. But in the end, slop is slop. And a lot of this slop is what's driving the growth. And there's only so much slop anyone needs, right? When you're building something for real, it speaks for itself. When you're in a bubble, you drown the signal in noise, more and more content. That noise is built on something. Here's where it gets real. Infrastructure, real cost, real risk. You know, I was having this deja vu moment about food.com. Food.com basically was like a database full of all the restaurants, entertainment spots in the area. Consider it like DoorDash without the dash. And there was all these projections of how this would take over everything. I mean, making stuff up. Does it sound a little like AI? Predicting the future as their business being successful and then having us assume that's true? Yeah. Signal, the market crashed and everything went away. So which side do you want to be on? Having something real or having something that somebody might buy, but when everything clears and the crash happens, there's nothing there. It's not real. It was hype. The bubble isn't just AI companies failing. They are planning to build data centers and this electrical infrastructure. And we know only a few will win. And there's at least 7 planned. What happened to the ones who don't? And what happens to those who get charged for something that may or may not exist? Because when the crash happens, building data centers, a few of them aren't going to get built, right? When the companies that build these data centers lose the AI race, what happens to that infrastructure and who pays for it? Consumers do. They're already proposing to increase electrical costs to consumers to pay for these data centers. They're burning billions on this. This takes so much money, massive electrical infrastructure, massive energy costs. And these data centers are like the equivalent of adding 100,000 homes to the grid. Plus, they need a ton of potable water. It's challenging some water tables in certain areas. What if that goes away? The bubble isn't just AI companies failing. It's billions in infrastructure built on the assumption that every AI company survives, and most won't. In .com, we overbuilt server farms, internet capacity, fiber everywhere. When the crash came, it all became worthless. And yes, it's why we're here and able to communicate this way. That's what had to pay for that amazing foundation. The difference between now and .com, the infrastructure failure isn't theoretical. It's baked into your power grid. When this pops, you don't just lose stock value, you lose grid stability. Cost of living goes up, and nobody planned for the cleanup. Nobody's planning for that. And that all comes from creating this content and this AI slop. Yes, there's so much more going on. The investment bubble is not just ChatGPT and large language models, but that's the one that we're focusing on because that's really where the bubble is and where the bubble is popping big time and may impact us, whether we use ChatGPT or not. If something seems silly, it is. You don't have to be a billionaire to understand that games are being played with this much money. And when this does happen, What are we going to do with that electrical infrastructure? Because this what makes it bigger than just some software. They are building enough infrastructure, electrical capacity for 100,000 homes, needing tons of water. And then what if they can't afford to pay for the data center? Maybe it just goes away. But in the dream, in the silliness, you can hear the bubbles. Until next time.